Okay, so we've learned a little bit about lists, and I mean a little bit. In Python, it's called list handling, and if you're playing with strings, it's called string handling. So what I'm going to do in Google is just help you out a little bit by showing you how to search for things, string handling, and you can see already functions in Python, string handling Python, that will be good. But we've got to know which one we're playing with. We're not playing with Python 3, so be careful. Sometimes they're called string services, string operations. It's quite a lot, and we can do the same with lists. We can call it list handling. Handling just means how to play around with it. So there we go, list handling in Python. And actually this is where I want to take us, list manipulation in Python. There are quite a few functions. We call them functions, and that's going to be important because I'm going to teach you a little bit about functions very shortly. So we've already seen a function. We've used len. If we go back to string handling, it wasn't at the top, but I think you'll find that strings also have len. There we go. So if you want to know what you can do with strings, really you need to come into these help files and have a look. So I'm going to go to list manipulation, because there's an important one in here that would probably take a long time to explain properly, and really it to create it would be an A-level topic, but we're just going to use it, and to know how it works is quite simple. To create it is quite complicated and what it does. But I'm looking for something. Well, first of all, at some point we will need just past it, just close this down here. At some point we're going to need a couple of these. We're going to look at len, so we've used that already. We might want to look at sorted. That can be quite useful. We've seen shuffle, but shuffle came from the random library. This is a function that operates on lists only. It's not part of the random library. We've got append, which we've seen. Insert, we're not going to use in this one, but it's another function that we would need. But the one that I'm looking for, and we're getting there now, is taking things out of a list. Now if we can think of our deck of cards that we've got, if I'm going to deal a card, I want to sort of get one card from the top and have the rest of the cards left over. And I'm trying to look at removing a card from the list, but I'm not going to use remove. I'm also not going to use delete one from the list, but I am going to use this one, pop. And pop is a special word which just means get an item from the list. Now there's several ways we can use it, and I can hear my computer struggling, so I've got a feeling this website is causing it to overload, so I'm just going to shut that down for a second. And I'm going to go back to the shell. Let's have a clean shell, and I can explain a little bit about what I'm trying to do. So Python shell. So if I had a list, let's call it cards equals, and I had a 1, a 2, a 3 and a 4, I can sort of take one item away, like I was dealing the top card of a deck of cards, and I can use the function pop to do it. So if I did this, cards dot pop, which we saw on the website, What that will do is we'll take one value off and shorten the amount of cards that I've got. So we can see that. So it's given me the value 4, which is the card that I took. But if I now type cards, you'll see that the list of cards is shorter. It's only got 1, 2, 3 and no 4 because I've taken the 4 card from the pack. And if I do that again, cards.pop, it's going to take the 3 off and give me a deck with just 1 and 2. So there's my 3. If I type cards, I've just got 1 and 2, which is okay. It's almost what we want to do, but as far as I'm concerned, that's sort of the back end of the list. I actually want to sort of take the front off, the 1 and the 2, and leave me with the rest of the list. Now, I need to talk a little bit about what we call indexing. And I did it when we did the print blah, and then we had a 0, and then I think that's the wrong brackets, a 0, and then a 1. And if I put dot format, and inside here a sort of list, not an actual list, but a list of items, 2 and 5, what it's going to do is replace this one here with the value 2 and this one here with the value 5, sorry. So if I press enter, there we go, it says blah 2 and 5. It's replaced them with these. And what I've done that for is to show you that this is called indexing. It's the position in this set of brackets. So I can do that one again. So let me copy that and have another one, which is 2. Well, let's be really strange here. Let's put it between the 2. So I don't need to have them in order. Okay, but my third one is going to be not a number. I'm going to have the word hello. So this is my 0 item, which is going to come here. So I'm going to print blah 2. That's my number 2 item. That's 0, 1, 2. So that's going to be the word hello. So it's going to print 2, hello, and finally the 1 item, which is 0, 1. That's 5. It's going to print 2, blah, 2, hello, 5. There we go. And that is called indexing. They're numbers. And they're the position of these items. And we've got exactly the same in the list. So if I print my cards, I've got 2 cards. If I print card 0, I am asking it to print that number there, 1. And if I do cards 1, I'm asking it to print that number there, which is 2. Whoops. But unlike pop, when we were playing with pop, none of these are changing the value of cards. It's still 1, 2. So if I put it all back together, cards equals 1, 2, 3, 4. I have got 4 items and they start at 0, 1, 2, 3. In other words, it's 1 less than the length of the list. So the length of this is 4. So if I do len cards, it turns out to be 4. And my values, I can print cards 0, which is 1, cards 1, which is 2, cards 2, which is 3, and finally cards 3, which should give me the 4. And I've got 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 statements, but they go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. In other words, this last one is just one less than the length of the cards. And I can actually use that nicely if I print cards and in square brackets len cards, which is 4 minus 1, which is 3, and square brackets. That's going to print exactly the same as if I typed 3 in there. So it's going to give me the 4. There we go. So that's a quick tutorial on sort of accessing, indexing lists, which we will need over and over again in our programs.